We just returned from Manus Island, and what you're about to see is what the Australian government has been trying to hide at the Manus Island Detention Camp.
What we witnessed was a humanitarian emergency. The camp is in absolute crisis.
This is the first time that video cameras have been able to film the detention camp without government supervision since it began 4 years ago.
One of the most important things that why exactly we want you guys to come here and see, we as the detainees or refugees, all of us in here, we did our best to send our voice to the world, but we know that there is a shortage. People don't believe what we are doing, and people don't believe on what we are sharing. Only a minority are believing on it. And this is like, for us, it's like an historical moment. Since 2001, when the Australia make an agreement with, say, Papua New Guinea government, they opened this detention center in Manus, they did not allow, they did not give an access to any media to come inside the detention center. Yeah. So you guys, what you did, it is you risk your life, you risk your career, you risk everything in your life to come and save people because you care about the humanity. We were really grateful for the rest of our life what your organization is doing for us.
Manus is a tropical island, and it was oppressively hot and humid inside the cramped metal boxes people sleep in. They've taken to sleeping outside on tables or whatever else they can find.
In the daytime it gets so hot that you cannot even stay here for 5 minutes.
The men have been storing rainwater in rubbish bins since the water was cut off and rationing it out for cooking and drinking. Former engineers among the group have made makeshift wells.
We believe that we have a genius engineers here, guys, so every way, all the time they're thinking of something brilliant to do stuff like that. Saving a life is not easy, so you have to come up with a brilliant idea.
The conditions of the toilets and showers are horrific. Hundreds of men have shared a handful of facilities for over 4 years. The men say that their requests to the contractors, who were paid billions to maintain the facilities, were ignored, causing frequent outbreaks of gastro and skin infections in the camp.
This is toilets and showers in Foxtrot compound. As you see, there is no water, the shower is not working, the hand wash. As you see, this is a very filthy place.
6 men have died in the camp, including Faisal Ahmed, a 27-year-old Sudanese refugee who was denied appropriate medical treatment 13 times before dying in a Brisbane hospital in 2016.
So we wrote this one just to explain to them that how the system is deliberately and they make their own negligence to let Faisal die.
Now doctors have left the camp. Men with acute medical conditions do not have access to medication and treatment, including this Rohingyan refugee with epilepsy. This is the reality for the men detained here, for many of them for more than 4 years.
I spent years working in humanitarian response, including in places like South Sudan.
And I have a background in human rights law in developing countries.
The conditions we witnessed on Manus Island are worse than either of us have ever seen. Death or serious illness are inevitable in coming days.
And just yesterday, the PNG Immigration Department gave these men an ultimatum. Leave the camp by Saturday or face potentially violent removal.
There is only one obligation in a humanitarian crisis, and that is to preserve life. All governments, all politicians, and all people have a duty to act.
Australia says this is PNG's responsibility, but only the Australian government has the capacity and the moral obligation to act to evacuate the camp immediately.
New Zealand, Canada, the US, and other safe countries may be willing to resettle these men, but we can't wait for the resettlement process to occur. Evacuation must happen now. Resettlement can happen later.
The Australian Parliament must immediately act together to evacuate these men and take them to safety.